Hi, my name is Sheila. Welcome. We are going to be talking about how to reinvent yourself in 2022. 4 easy tips that you can start to work on today. But first, let's talk about why you might want to reinvent yourself. Maybe you have recognized that you're not quite where you want to be in your life. Maybe you are unhappy and you're saying, you know what, I have more potential and I am actually going to start to live up to that potential. You're looking at finally tapping into your best self and bringing that forward for 2022. As I talk about some of these things, you're going to hear me talk about friends and relationships and groups and those sorts of things. We're not saying that everything that you're leaving behind is bad or that it has been something that's been holding you back. We're focusing on the positive side here and saying, what are the things that you can do to sort of lift yourself up to where you want to be? Forget the negative stuff. We're focusing on the positive stuff in this video. One of the first things that you want to do is take a look at who you are around, the type of people that you're around. If you're aspiring to be at a certain level in a company or in a community organization that you're a part of, you want to be invited to join, but you haven't been able to get anyone interested in you yet. One of the things you might want to do is take a look at your friend group and say, hey, how do I start to meet more of those people? How do I start to have lunch with some people who are at the C-suite level? What do I need to do to get there? And who's in my network? Who's already in my peer group that I can build closer relationships with? Now, we aren't talking about just using people and stepping on people to try to get ahead. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about looking at who we're spending time with now and whether or not they fit in with our goals and our future and who we really want to be, or are we just hanging out with the same friends because they've just been there the whole time? And even though I don't necessarily have anything in common with them now, I'm still hanging out with them, well, because that's just what we do sometimes. It's easier to stay in that place than it is to move forward. If we're not challenging ourselves, we aren't getting better. So find a way to challenge yourself to break into some of these new groups. Build your network. Reach out on LinkedIn and develop relationships with people who are in places and spaces where you want to be in your future, in your best self kind of life. Number 2, as you're looking at reinventing yourself, what are some of the things that you're doing now? How are you spending your time? What kind of hobbies do you have? What kind of organizations are you a part of? What kind of clubs are you spending all of that extra time and money on? Because you know that's usually where that goes. If they are not organizations and clubs and groups that you really see yourself as being a part of in your future, in that future self, when you envision that best self that you're trying to reach, what you're working on in 2022, if they're not a part of that, then why are you letting them still be in the picture now? It's time to sort of cull all of that and say, okay, here are the ones that are going to go. Here are the ones that are going to stay. And then here are the new ones that I need to bring in. So that's the way you can think about that. What goes, what stays, what's new that needs to come in. And then sort of build your hobbies around that. And number 3, you have all heard this one before. Are you dressing the part? Are you wearing the image of the person that it is you want to be? Now, sometimes not. Sometimes you are in a profession that requires you to look and dress a certain way, and people question what you look like if you don't fit their mold of what you should look like. And it may be a little harder to step out and be that person that you really want to be. For me, I'm an attorney. So imagine if you were an attorney and here you are required to go to court all the time, and you're in a more conservative firm and they expect you to wear, like a navy suit and closed-toe shoes and hose and minimal jewelry. And yet deep down, you're creative, and actually you have a lot of fashion sense, and you want to be able to do some funky things with your wardrobe. And yet you're in this profession, and especially in a firm that doesn't really want you to dress that way. So you can't do it from in your 9 to 5, but maybe you can do it in the evenings. So when you're taking a look at who it is you want to be, it's sort of, am I dressing for that role? Am I dressing for that position? You've always heard this said, dress for the part that you want to be in, dress for the position that you want to have. Take a look at what those people are wearing and what they're doing. Learn from that. You don't necessarily have to mimic what they're doing, but you can pick up some tips that you can take to sort of say, okay, maybe the torn jeans is a look I need to limit to the weekends at home when I'm doing some stuff with those friends. But when I'm out in public, my sort of go-to casual look is a little bit more elevated. You can elevate your style in a lot of different ways by adding, accessories or jewelry, whatever it is that you may have that works for you. The thing to sort of think about, though, is what is that I want to look like? And am I presenting that image when I'm dressed and I walk out of my house, out into the world? Then finally, number 4, let's talk about brand. This sort of idea of the resume that people have about you when you aren't in the room. What do they think about? When somebody says your name, what are the 5 key elements that pops into their head about you when you aren't there? That's sort of your brand, your resume, your image that other people have of you. If that resume, that brand, that image that they have, if it does not match up with where you want to be, then you might need to tweak that and sort of start to work on reinventing that part of you so that you can get it to the 2022 version of yourself. That other version you can say bye to, and you can start to change some things. For me, part of my brand is, oh yes, she's an attorney. She does some political stuff in the community. And hey, she is like a fitness queen. She's always in the gym. She keeps me motivated on being healthy and fit. And she always looks really together. That's my image of what I think people think about me. I could be way off base. But the idea here is that you want to maybe tap into some people that you know and say, hey guys, tell me what you think my brand is. Tell me what you think about me when I'm not in the room. What are the 5 key elements that you would say? She's this, this, okay? And maybe even the top 3, the same 3. If you have 3 that are really popping up, that are ones that don't represent who you really want to be and how you want to reinvent yourself for 2022, then those may be, 3 of the 5 that you want to start to work on first. The key is to make sure that whatever it is that you pick are ones that reflect where you want to go. It could be that those 3 are just issues other people had. Like, they could be things that other people are tapping into because of who they are and not necessarily because of who you are. So you want to be really careful when you are getting information from other people about what they think about your brand and your image. A lot of times that information can be truly helpful in assisting you in determining, my brand's not matching up to what I want it to be, and I want to change that. So that's it for this video. Hope you got a lot out of it. 4 things you want to think about in terms of reinventing yourself for 2022. Your brand, who you're hanging out with, your hobbies, and are you dressing the part for the role that you want to have? I think that's going to be a whole nother video. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Give it a thumbs up. YouTube loves to see that sort of engagement by you. And of course, I appreciate all of your assistance with that. I think that's it. All right, peace.